My name is Scott White. I'm the owner here at Carolina Barrel and Blade. We're a training facility, indoor range, pro shop, gun shop. I guess the thing that started with me early on, when I was not much younger than you guys, I was a Ranger in the Army. That's kind of where things started with me. I was initially had this rare, mysterious skill. I was initially got orders for 75th Ranger Regimental Headquarters, and then was immediately reassigned to 3rd Ranger Battalion. And the only reason I mentioned that, my service in the military was brief, but that's what lit the spark for me. That's what kind of set me on this path that I'm on. After getting out of the Army, couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I ended up in law enforcement. I guess that's a natural progression is to be a cop after that. So ended up in law enforcement, spent a total of about 21 years in law enforcement if you count the 3 years I taught criminal justice in law enforcement. I spent about 16 of those 21 years as an instructor. Early on, I was selected to be an instructor. We went in South Carolina. We have this course, Specific Skills. It's a 3-day course that teaches you how to teach. I went through that. Immediately, I finished up teaching. Finished up that course, and then I started going to manufacturers. The academy. I'm kind of aggressive and impatient, and the academy wasn't moving fast enough to build my resume. So I started going to the manufacturers to get things done. I initially went to the ASP. Tactical Baton Instructor course was the first one I did. ASP Baton, the expandable batons. I did. Then I went to DefTech, Defense Technologies. Ended up, I was just going for their pepper spray course, and then they informed me because of my background and stuff that I could do their full-blown course, and I did pepper spray instructor, flashbangs instructor, chemical munitions instructor, ballistic door breaching instructor, and less lethal munitions instructors, rubber buckshot and bean bags. Moved from there, started doing the firearms instructor courses. I went through our academies course. I've done Glock, Sig Sauer, Smith & Wesson courses. I'm a UTM munitions instructor. I'm also an FX, or a UTM non-lethal training ammunition instructor. I'm also a FX munitions instructor. And then as well, interspersed through there, I got involved in active shooter instructor courses. I did alert active shooter instructor course. I think it was out of Texas. But before I did alert, actually, I did GTI first, Government Training Institute. That was out of Idaho, I think. I did GTI, alert. Then I've done a Department of Homeland Security course, South Carolina's courses, just a bunch of things like that, a bunch of courses like that. I also, in South Carolina, we kind of have a progression of instructor-based courses. After doing the specific skills course, eventually I went through what's called the basic instructor course. That course teaches you how to write lesson plans. After doing that class, I was fortunate in being asked to be a master instructor. Absolutely impressive group of folks there. I was probably the junior guy in that class, but I became a master instructor. That course basically taught curriculum development. We became curriculum development. We also had to select 2 areas of subject matter expertise. Not that I'm an expert. We just had to select 2 areas that we had to look at. And from there, I think that base. I've done rifle classes, precision rifle, sniper rifle classes, patrol rifle stuff, shotgun courses, and as well I shoot competitively. Shoot between competition shooting and all this other stuff. I think it just naturally made sense to go the route I've gone.
How did your business start?
Yeah, I think that it started based on my base there. I have all this stuff in my background, and we started in 2001 to train knife fighting. Actually, we started off teaching knife fighting courses to law enforcement, security guys, and military guys. We started off with law enforcement guys. Some of those guys were in the National Guard. They went back to the National Guard unit. This time these guys were deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. We ended up training a lot of military guys in guard units, and then some full-time guys later on. We did, and that's how the business started initially. Then, as we progressed, I think about 8 years in, I was becoming disenfranchised with law enforcement. I thought it was really time for me to go do something else. It just took me 10 years to make that decision wholly, I guess. So I wanted to get out. I wanted to do things. I could see some things that we were doing better, that I could do better privately than we could do from the government side of things. So it was just a common sense thing for us to move into business. As well, my wife had encouraged me to do so. She encouraged me to really train females and church security teams. She was more encouraging for the civilian side of things. And I guess I can't see the forest for the trees. The joke around here is we're all, we're trigger pullers. And my wife was very instrumental in letting me know that there were other people that was interested in what I could do. I really still have a little bit of struggle understanding why anybody would want to know anything we want to know here if you're not like military or law enforcement. But it seems like there are a lot of folks that do, a lot of good folks that do. So that's basically how we started as a business. That's how we started. That's what we do now. We have a 2-lane indoor shooting range. We have a digital range to fire live ammunition on digital targets. We have a pro shop, gun shop, and a training facility.
All right, and change the battery real quick.
We're just going to keep that rolling, right?
Yep.
Yeah, keep that pad rolling.
All right, next question. I believe it is, I don't know what it is. What is the purpose of your business?
Yeah, purpose of the business is training. We are kind of backwards from a business model. Most folks, there are a lot of folks that have indoor shooting ranges that offer a few training courses. They'll have these Taj Mahal shooting ranges and they'll have a few minor training courses. We're the exact opposite of that. We're a small training business with a shooting range and a pro shop. The purpose will always be training. We have really, especially like we were just talking about the events of the day. While we were shooting this video, we're notified of that of the church shooting in Texas. I think God's probably shaped us and influenced us there more than any place. We in 2006 we wrote a program based on another tragedy, a death of a friend and an officer. We wrote a program called Acute Angle Protective Shooting to assist guys in gaining some skill should you have to shoot in a crowded environment to increase the probability of a hit on the bad guy and decrease the probability of a hit on someone in close proximity. It is shooting in a crowded environment. The course is Acute Angle Protective Shooting. That, I think, has probably been it's the flagship of our business. We can't find that course or anything like it anywhere else. When we have special operations guys who look at it and they're saying they're seeing something new, that's a hint. So we think God's blessed us in steering it that way. Right now, our individuals, training law enforcement guys is still there, training military guys is still there, but it seems as though church security teams and training in church environs is turning into our primary area of expertise, and it seems to be that's where we are best right now. So training is it. Training is the primary focus.
Okay. Talk a little bit about your CBMB staff.
Oh yeah, the staff here, really fortunate there. Really super fortunate there. Several of these guys around here, my background pales in comparison to those fellas and those ladies here. The staff, all of our instructors here, we're small, so we use outside contractors, and we're pretty much reliant on people who we know in industry, friends of ours, connections, and I think just me being so closely involved in the instructional community. It is a small community. If you're a legitimate instructor, we know pretty much who you are, or we know somebody who knows who you are. And we have kind of drawn from those areas. One of our best guys here is a maintenance supervisor at a local manufacturing plant. He's a great instructor. We also have 4 or 5 guys, who are former Army Special Forces guys. One of our guys is a former Colombian Special Forces operator. We have 2 of us Ranger experience. 2 of us have Ranger experience. Several of us have competitive shooting experience. So I guess from a background, from looking at it from that point, we're pretty formidable, pretty hard to deal with as far as hard to compete with in that area. As far as the number of guys with these intense backgrounds that are in this building. But the thing about it is, the thing that makes it more amazing, I guess, is when we go to select instructors, we look at pretty much 2 criteria. We look at the ability to teach and personality. You must be able to teach, and you got to have a decent personality to connect with a class. It's one of the things we picked up from the Master Instructor class that I went through. I think that's probably the biggest influence there, how personality interacts with training. You can be the baddest SEAL Team 6 Delta Force guy in the world, but if you don't have the ability to connect with a class, you're probably not going to be very useful to us here. So you can have all these skill sets, but if you can't transfer them to our people, it's just not good. Well, we're fortunate in that we have those guys with those personalities and skill sets here who are able to transfer this stuff to the general public. These guys are absolutely professional, and I'm awed by it just about on a daily basis on how fortunate I am as a business owner to have those guys with us. So I think if you would, just to sum it up, our business here, I don't think we're seeing that some of the things we're doing here are not available anywhere else, and I think it goes back to one, just a little bit of divine intervention. It's clear how that works here, and just the folks that we have around us. The people are definitely the product here, and the people who